Yo, what's up everyone? This is Pastor Divine. Today we're going to actually be watching a video that's quite different than the other videos. It's not going to be a music video. It's not going to be criticism or anything. This is Jordan Peterson and his video called The Message to the Christian Churches. Now it's about 10 minutes and 50 seconds, so I kind of have to get into this, so I'm going to be taking forever. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Put your comments down below on what you think it is. If he said anything that you thought was worth taking in, comment down below. I'd like to see you guys in the comments. I do read my comments. So yeah, let's go.
And broadcast a video entitled Message to the Christian Churches. But I'm going to do it anyway because I have something to say and because that something needs to be said.
I like how he says all of that.
I've been speaking to and watching and listening to audiences all over the Western world. We might well be construed even as a cancer that threatens the very viability of the complex systems that make up the ecosystem of the earth that shelters and supports us.
Wow.
We are facing a Malthusian catastrophe of overpopulation and biosphere degradation. And we have to place extreme limits on our wants, even our needs, so that survival itself, even in a much reduced form, can be guaranteed. Accusation number 3. The prime contributor both to the tyranny that makes up the oppressive patriarchy and structures all of our social interactions, past and present, and the unforgivable despoiling of our beloved Mother Earth is damnable male ambition, competitive and dominating, power-mad, selfish, exploitative, raping and pillaging. You might think that I'm overstating the case.
Dude,
Think again, sunshine. We in the West are facing an all-out assault at the deepest levels on what that old joker Jacques Derrida deemed the phallogocentric conceptual structure of civilization itself. To take that apart, that's a society centered on the encouraging, adventurous, masculine spirit, and that privileges that hated word of all things, the divine logos. And what should we worship and celebrate properly other than that? Deconstructionists, the words of that mass murderer Karl Marx? And it is precisely those young men who are deeply conscientious.
Holy crap. 6 minutes into the video, and Jordan Peterson, he's like that one guy that always just does not care. He does not care what he's going to call you because he knows what you are. Like, oh, it's amazing. But everything that he's saying, the church wants nothing to do with. That's the problem also, is that we're like playing into all of this stuff that's happening, you know? The churches and the you could say the teachings, but also the lessons that we teach come from like one company, okay? I think that's a problem right there too. That's a massive problem because everybody's treated different, everybody goes through different things. But Orange curriculum, to me, is being used in all the other churches. Basically, everything is being taught the same way, same thing, same. It's just about morals and morality and etc., etc. If your sister's having a bad time, share. If your neighbor needs help, help them. There's nothing like spiritual or teachings that are being done that will actually affect these children and to push them and to motivate them to actually do good acts. We should not be ones that teach moral goodness. We should teach them who Christ is, and by that they should copy who Christ is, and by copying you automatically do those good things. So as my church and many other churches preach, you know, goodness and the fruits of the Spirit, when it's like way more in depth than just that stupid song. And I hate the song. I hate it. The stupid song that goes like, the fruit of the Spirit's not an apple. The fruit of the Spirit's not an apple. Because if you're an apple, it's like, get the hell out. Get out of here. That crap confused the hell out of these kindergarten and first graders. I'll tell you that right now. It really did. And the first day that we started teaching that song to these kids, the kids immediately were like confused. And I asked them, what is one of the fruits of the Spirit?
An apple, and not an orange.
So it seems to me that the funny comedian actors using these funny puppets, which are, it's funny, stuff is funny, but they remember that stuff more than they do the lesson. Because when I'm trying to teach the kids about what they learned, nobody really has an answer. No one does. No one knows anything. And then we give these papers to them expecting them to remember what they learned after watching some little cartoon. I really don't have a voice when it comes to the church or the church that I'm involved with. I don't really have a voice because what they have is what they have. If I suggest something, they'll just tell me, well, we'll consider it. But usually when someone says we'll consider it, it's usually no, we're not gonna think about it. I don't think too highly on Orange curriculum. I wish we could just get away with all of that stuff. The curriculums should be for individually a church to come up with. And that's when I would say we know our kids. We know our kids the most. We know our kids the best. We know what they're going through. Why not make lessons by ourselves for our children, for the kids that we're teaching? Because our kids are way different than Coast Life kids. Coast Life kids are way different than the Baptist kids. So why is all these churches using the same curriculum? And these curriculums don't teach what is necessary to be followers of Christ. We teach, be a good person, get baptized, and you're a Christian. That's kind of what it comes down to. There's way more that we could be doing. There are spiritual teachings that kids can understand. I've seen it. I've done it. So why don't we do it? Well, that right there is a big part of it.
Capable of guilt and regret, who have come to believe in pain that every deep impulse that moves them out into the world for the adventure of their life, even that impulse drawing them to women, is nothing but the manifestation of a spirit that is essentially satanic in nature. This is not only wrong theologically, morally, psychologically, practically, and scientifically.
I love how he says that right there. He just mentions all those things, you know, theologically, biblically, scientifically, psychologically. He just mentions all those things and bundles them together, basically showing that this is what it is. Truth is evident. It's in our faces. You have no excuse. Romans 1:18-20. I love it. So these laws that apply in the world, and these laws that animals even follow by, trees follow by, nature, man, etc. follow by, okay, these laws that are universal and apply to every single person, and if you're outside of those boundaries, you're just deemed to chaos. Science backs it up. What happens when two get together that are of the same sex? Not only many bad things physically, but also spiritually, mentally. Okay, we're talking about something that God put in order and said, do it this way, do not do it that way. When it comes to this sin, run away. Do not engage in it. We have a church and a culture that says, do engage with it. If you feel like it, do it. If you feel it in your heart to be okay, go right ahead. That's like what the Jehovah's Witnesses say. They say, pray on it. Feel it in your gut. That is the Holy Spirit telling you. It's the Holy Spirit telling you that, you know that it's right. Good. That right there, to me, is like very dangerous. Because once you're a Jehovah's Witness and you get that, like, feel it in your gut. It's true. It must be true. I'll be praying that you feel this in your gut. Well, everything you feel in a gut ain't true. Basically saying that, you know, if your heart tells you to do it, just do it, which is a lie. Biblically speaking, the heart is the most deceitful thing. Go back to the word to know what is true. That's basically what it is. Your gut does not tell you what is true. The word does.
It is literally anti-true. It's not a mere misstatement about the nature of reality, a minor conceptual error, but something that literally could not be farther from the truth. Mm-hmm. And something that distant from the truth comes from a place that cannot be distinguished from hell. The Christian church is there to remind people, young men included, and perhaps even first and foremost, that they have a woman to find, a garden to walk in, a family to nurture, an ark to build, a land to conquer, a ladder.
I like that right there. An ark to build. See, when I heard that, when I hear that right now, that's what I kind of see is like a whole family fighting and striving to keep right in the laws of God. But the world around you is the flooding waters trying to rush at you while you try to build a boat and you try to keep your kids in a foundation that will last, that will strive. A foundation that your children will teach to their children to keep them up and not be drowned in all this confusion, you know, BLM, Antifa, LGBT, you know, the feminist movement. These things are like really confusing stuff. It is. And the fact that it's just bombarded onto you, that's like the waters rushing onto you. And as a Christian, we're supposed to be the ones that keep fighting for the culture. We're supposed to be the salt and the light. We're supposed to be the flavor. We're supposed to be different than everything else. We're supposed to make God more wonderful. And we're plain. We've lost our saltiness. So when I heard that, I was just like, wow, we have lost. We've let the water come in. You know, the house is the boat. Our house is the boat, and the storm is outside. Like right now it's storming. You're basically just opening up every single window and every single entrance possible to let this garbage and this evil, nasty worldview and worldviews come into your house and take over your children.
To build, and the utter terrible catastrophe of life to face stalwartly in truth, devoted to love, and without fear. Invite the young men back. Say, literally, to those young men, you are welcome here. If no one else wants what you have to offer, we do. We want to call you to the highest purpose of your life. We want your time and energy and effort and your will and your goodwill.
See, why don't they do that to me? Because I'm an extremist, apparently. There's times that I go out, and I've talked about this before. I go out and I share the gospel. I hold up signs. I have banners. I have gospel tracts. I have little packets of goodies that I give to the homeless. I talk to people about how God views them. I talk to about abortion. I basically answer questions that people want to know, and I give them the biblical answer. And that's what I do. But that's extremist. When you go outside and you actually approach the world, apparently that's extreme. And instead of taking a young man like me in and saying, here, we're going to try to support you, what do you need? They push me away and they say, you're an extremist, you need to stop, you're building up walls, you're horrible, you need to rethink your strategy, and blah, 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 and this and that. It's like, I'm sorry. Now, I'm not the Jesus preachers on YouTube. I'm not condemning what they're doing, okay? I honestly watch the videos, the Jesus preachers. And they go out to the streets and they have a speaker and they preach, they share the gospel, their testimony all the time. But it's the fact that they go out with a big speaker and they kind of like blare everything out. That to me doesn't work. Maybe it does in certain places. I'm not going to say they shouldn't, because I think everybody needs to hear the gospel. But I don't do that. I'm very calm. I'm very subtle. I'm very, very quiet when it comes to what I do. Basically, I just stand there and I let people come to me. But the church continues to say that I'm extremist. They don't want that. I'm an outcast, technically speaking. I was going to Coast Life and they would say that they thought I was a weirdo. They thought I was weird that I was doing that. And that's why, because I asked them, hey, well, why doesn't anybody want to talk to me or hang out with me? Well, it's probably because you, what you do outside of church, you know, you go on the island, you wave flags and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we've had like other volunteers and like people that work here come by and saying like, what is he doing? He's weird. Cool. Awesome. So I got volunteers of the church, the Coast Life Church, that would think I was weird and not worth talking to because I share the gospel a different way than they do, when they would go to a park in the middle of a neighborhood, literally a neighborhood, and have this little park and blast music. But that's not extreme.
We want to work with you to make things better.
Yes.
To produce life more abundant for you and for your wife and children and for your community and your country and the world. And we have our problems in the Christian church. We are moribund and sometimes, far too often, corrupt, and sometimes deeply so. We are outdated, as are all institutions with their roots in the dead, but still often wise past.
I love that, how he mentions all of that.
We'll help fix you up, and you can help fix us up. And together, we'll aim up. And here's a message to those young men skeptical about such things. What else do you have? You can abandon the churches in your cynicism and disbelief. You can say to yourself, narcissistically and solipsistically, the church does not express what I believe properly. Who cares what you believe? Why is this about you?
Mm-hmm.
Do you even want it to be about you? What if it was about others? What if it was about your duty to the past and to the broader community that surrounds you in the present?
Let's make this clear. I'm like, when I go out and people say, why don't you change your way of doing things? Well, I find it to be very helpful and I find it to be attracting to the people that I'm trying to reach. And they're saying, well, are you doing this for yourself, or are you doing this for the glory of God? And I kind of look at them like, I'm doing this for the glory of God. You think that I want to go out to the beach when it's hot and just stand there in the sun and sweat, or go outside on the island and sweat, handing out gospel tracts and Bibles and answering questions? That's for me? Or is that because I love everyone and I want everyone to know who Christ is?
What if it was incumbent upon you and vital to your health and willingness even to live, to rescue your dead father from the belly of the beast, where he has always resided, and to restore him to life? Once again, to the churches, Protestant, you're the worst at the moment.
Ooh, Jordan Peterson firing some shots right there. Oh my goodness.
To the churches, Protestant, you're the worst at the moment. Catholic, Orthodox. Invite young men. Put up a billboard. Say, young men are welcome here. Print some flyers.
That's extremist.
Put them in a box by the billboard. Signal the existence of those flyers with an arrow with the words, more information about attending here. Tell those who have never been in a church exactly what to do, how to dress, when to show up, who to contact, and most importantly, what they can do. Ask more, not less, of those you are inviting.
I think that's also like very correct. When you tell people, hey, come to this church, you're basically just telling them, hey, just come and sit down and like listen to a sermon and then we're gonna leave. Instead of, hey, come to this church and let's work together. Let's volunteer together. Let's try to see if we can run a men's group. We don't ever give these people an option of what they want to do. And that's the sad part. You know, a lot of these young teens now that kind of like left the 5th grade, they're in middle school now. They're about to leave, and I'm like, you ever going to come back and volunteer? And they kind of look at me like confused, like, why? And when I see that, I'm just like, because you have more to give. Like I know that you're going to be in 6th grade, technically speaking, and you're going to be with the kids, maybe if they even allow that. But that's one thing I think they do is they push away kids to volunteer and to do things because of how young they are. But when you do that, I feel like you're pushing the kids away from what their purpose is. So if a kid loves to serve, like one of the kids that serves right now, he loves what he does. He goes up there, he runs. He's like the host of like the service sometimes, first service. He's the host of it. He does a great job. He's wonderful. Well-spoken. He's energetic. He runs games, and he's the tech dude. Like, he's awesome at it. And I have to look at that, and I have to imagine, like, what if he was treated the same way as these kids were? Like, oh, well, he's too young. He can't do that. He can't help out because the kids won't take him serious and blah, blah, blah. Now, obviously, I have my ups and downs when I volunteer. I have kids that take me serious, and I have kids that don't take me serious. And the reason why is because I'm too fun. I'm fun. I'm serious, and I'm fun at the same time. And I'm still trying to find that equal balance right there to make it where they can respect my seriousness and my funness. And I'm still dealing with that, but I can't exactly do that when I have other volunteers and people messing around saying, don't listen to Caden, you know, don't listen to so-and-so, you know, or don't take me serious. And I also think this problem also stems from the parents too. When they give me a weird look, or they talk bad, or they are awkward around me, and their kids might ask, like, why don't you talk to him? And he's like that weird look, you know. I had that happen in Coast Life because of my past at the YMCA. The Young Men's Cult Association is what I call the YMCA. One of the girls at Coast Life thought I was just a complete freak because during YMCA years, I was kind of figuring myself out spiritually, and I was going through my little small, slight, slow transition from Satanism to Christianity, and from studying these other worldviews for the benefit of myself to becoming a Christian and how to apply good stuff for other people. And I was kind of like in between that, but because of my dark era, she thought I was a freak and weird, and the vibe she gave made her kids not trust me. It made a certain man that was a relative of theirs come over to me and threaten me. So those little things kids do see, and they will see it. So in the same way, I think that when volunteers tell kids that are about to leave and go to middle school that you can't volunteer because you're too young, I feel like that gives the same vibe. Like, oh, they don't want me. They think I'm horrible. They think I'm bad. And you kind of give them that expression like, no. Like, what was that expression? Kids wants to volunteer. What was, not this year. To me, these things hurt more than help.
Ask more of them than anyone ever has. Remind them who they are in the deepest sense and help them become that. Your churches, for God's sake. Quit fighting for social justice. Quit saving the bloody planet. Attend to some souls. That's what you're supposed to do. That's your holy duty. Do it now.
I love how he says that. Do it now. Like he's really, oh, geez, I want to talk a little bit more.
Before it's too late. The hour is nigh.
Dang. Like he's right on spot. Like he is. Like attend to the soul. We don't really do that. We don't. We just say go to Bible study and that's it. Go in a small group and that will help. And it's just like, yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to. My first Bible study group that I went to, there was like a woman there that just kept on interrupting me and saying that, I don't think that's true. No, I don't feel like that. It's just like, who cares about your feelings? Shut up. I didn't say that to her, but that's what I thought. The other men's group I'm going to, it's strange. Because comment down below if you guys heard this before. That the church and the family have like these levels. Okay, so it's from like Christ to man to woman to, or Christ, man, family, you know, and Christ, pastor, family. You know, have you ever like learned about that, like the common levels of authority in the family and in the church and how they kind of like just they're the same. The men's group I was going to, none of them have heard that. None of them have heard that before. So when I was just, they were like, so what else does the structure of a family remind you of? And I said, a church. And they were like, I've never heard that one before. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, you've been to seminary school. I'm just thinking about getting to seminary school. But if you have no idea that the structure of a family resembles the structure of a church, what are you learning in seminary school? Is it even worth thousands of dollars to be put into if you, everything that I know, everything I've taught, everything I've studied has been online for free and from friends who are professors and teachers. They've sent me PDF forms that they actually teach their students. So I get stuff for free. But what really makes me not want to go to seminary school is the fact that what am I going to be taught? You know, like it was really, I was very confused when they all looked at me. It was like, never heard of that. I don't think that's right. Yeah, I think it is right. That's literally what it is. The structure of a family is like a structure of the church and how we should run the family and church. Okay, what you let in the house, you should be cautious. You should pray over. What you let in the church, you should be cautious and pray over. I was mind blown. But I don't know. I don't know. I read books, I study online, I watch sermons, and I take notes, and I have pages of notes that I still got to type up, and I'm going to make a lot of more website pages and questions and topics that I've studied, and I'm going to give everything to you guys. I'm going to give everything to you guys and what I've learned and how to look at everything. I don't think there's a reason to go to seminary school besides get a piece of paper, a certificate. That's it. Comment down below what you guys think. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Jordan Peterson, I really like. I listen to his sermons like crazy. I listen to his like podcast like crazy while I'm working, etc. So I love watching him, love listening to him while I work. So Apologia Studios, Frank Turek with the I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. Oh, I just love it. I love it.